All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jason, TCP Super System. I know yesterday I said I was going to do this crypto rapid fire session on Friday night, but things changed schedule wise. So it is Saturday morning. So welcome in. Again, what you see on the screen is the TCP Super System, daily view on the left, weekly view on the right. System I use to identify opportunities in cryptos and stocks. It is a technical analysis channel that's unique, original. The system is mine, not available to the public on TradingView yet. If you like good TA, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. Help out the channel. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for informational, educational purposes only. Please consult an advisor before making trades. You could lose all your money. Just a crazy guy on the internet with one hell of a system. But today, we're going to go through the list of monitored cryptos. Plus, I did get a request to look at a couple different items, so I'll go through those as well first, and then we'll do a rapid run through, stopping on a couple different tokens here, looking at the charts, signals, opportunity zones that we've identified. And just to start out, I will say, I mean, these markets have been brutal the last couple of days. Bitcoin's, I mean, currently trading at 96,058. This is November 15th, 2025. It's come down from, I think, the peaks of about 125K. So a nice retracement here. And we're going to show you some opportunity zones and then move on. So before I get into the crypto rapid fire, again, we'll go through a couple tokens here or assets. One's a stock, or two are stocks. But thanks again for all the new subscribers. Appreciate the engagement in the chat. I will say, someone told me that the system doesn't appear to be working. I'm not really sure what that comment was based on. I did ask for feedback without a response yet, but so look forward to that. If that was you out there, then please respond because I think the videos speak for themselves. We've absolutely been nailing most of these opportunity zones. So if you have negative feedback, please share it. Would love to engage. Again, appreciate all the new subscribers and the engagement. We love y'all. Just trying to educate and inform. So let's get started. One of the new ones that came in through chat was for Intel Corporation, and I'll kind of show you what the charts are saying. You're kind of in a tough spot here, and I'll show you why. Um, but here we go. You can see we had this nice run up. That green cloud, that's your green uptrend, right? We've had a gap up here. Usually when you see gaps up, you usually come back and fill that gap. So be careful here because that gap's around 25.46, okay? Now you'll see at the peak up here, we didn't really have any diamonds, but what we did have was red on the hot sensor medium term, red on the hot sensor long term, as well as level threes, twos, and ones on the weekly view in the red and orange on the hot sensors. While we were peaking out up here, that's that's a pretty strong indicator that we may have been a little heavy at the top there. Obviously, you can see we're now retracing. Excuse me, guys. And this is getting interesting because you can see on the daily view, we've got a confirmed downtrend. The red cloud's formed. It's transitioned from green to red. We've pumped down through that cloud. And just like we say to the upside, on the downside here, it usually will pump down and retrace back to the cloud and then resume downward. Does it do it every time? No. That's just typically what we see in the system. I'm just trying to interpret the charts for you. But what you will notice is that the orange and blue line and our standard deviations, they are now penetrating back down through that red zone up here. That is typically a sign of weakness when you've got that white line in the lower extremes. So be careful here. You're kind of in no man's land a little bit because we are right at a level of support. That's your 50-day moving average on Intel. They're right around this 34.70 mark, somewhere right in there. You can see we've had a nice little, on Friday, I guess we had a nice little or a little increase in price, not much, but you can see it there. On the weekly, we're also trending right back to the top of that cloud. So, that is a longer term view. Uh, Sometimes you can get that retracement back to the cloud or to the bottom of that cloud, then it resumes higher. So we need to pay attention to the standard deviation methodologies here. But you'll see in both scenarios, daily and weekly, we've got declining are weakening hot sensors. So red, orange, yellow, blue, gray, white, and then it'll cross over to the downside like you see here. So this is showing signs of weakness. Again, your 200-day moving average is right in the middle, or pretty much in the middle of that cloud on the weekly view, around 32. So I'd probably watch that level. But again, right now, this is not something for me I would be buying. So I hope that was helpful for whoever suggest or wanted us to take a peek at that. Again, not financial advice, just opinion on the system and what's out there. So that is Intel. And then also someone also brought up Zone again, because this is one that we did for our little $500 stock portfolio. Again, you can see where we're in at $1.12. Obviously, this thing is tanked to 39 cents. So we're being very aggressive here. We are going to hold this one. Just trying to be honest with the portfolio. This is one where we're risking 500 to try to maximize returns. Ultimately trying to turn it into $100,000. Again, obviously a little bit of work to do to make up those gains, but I think, this is a treasury company for Dogecoin, and we got Dogecoin ETFs coming. So that's why we invested in this one. We were getting those level 3s on both the daily and the weekly, so we felt like we were near bottom, but clearly, you can see even now where we're getting this level 3 here, that was on November 10th, so 5 days ago. Even though we've trended lower, we're in the red, everything's red, which is typically a great sign for a turnaround. So we'll see if this thing turns, and when those ETFs come out and if Doge sees any price action to the upside, hopefully this begins to rebound and goes much higher than $1.12. That would be our hope. And we will continue to keep you updated on Clean Core Solutions, which is the Dogecoin treasury company. So we're going to start with Bitcoin and XRP here, and then after that we'll probably run through, stopping on a few different ones. I've got a couple of ones highlighted for this show today, including Chainlink, Arrow, Bitcoin, XRP, Cosmos or Atom, Solana, World Liberty, XDC, XLM. Let me go ahead and highlight XLM. We may look at some others. We'll see. So looking at Bitcoin, obviously it's had a pretty brutal run the last couple of weeks here. And you can see, again, we've nailed these zones. That was back on October 6th when it peaked out around 124. We had highlighted the first zone to the downside based on leveraged liquidation zones out there in the public data. We penetrated through it, and you can go back and look at the videos. We told y'all if it penetrated that level, we might be headed toward this 80. I think we have identified 85 to 87,000, and it could actually go as low as 81. I want to show you this on Bitcoin. This is crazy. And I think, I know Michael Saylor's come out recently and said they're always going to be buying Bitcoin, but I think they've actually sold 1,200 Bitcoin as well. So I know the latest video I saw, Saylor said their average is around $74,000 for Bitcoin. So you could really see him be pressured if you start getting toward that level. So, but look at this. This is Bitcoin on the 3-month. Leveraged liquidation heat map. Look at this here. Here's your bottom, absolute bottom zone here, 80,465. And again, you can see all that leverage around this 90,000 level, which is kind of where we're headed, I think. So yeah, really, I mean, I know it's a big zone, but really 80 to 90,000, probably highly likely. So just to be fair to myself here, we're gonna lower this to 80 right there. That's your zone. If we get down there, and you can see the hot sensors here, only white, gray, they're all on the downside. You've had the crossover on the weekly, it's in the gray, so it's worsening. Things are declining on the medium term. We're in the red, so which is typically an elevated area. Now, I don't necessarily like looking at just the long-term weekly hot sensor here because it can stay a certain color range for a very long period of time. And again, what's amazing, look at this level, that big downside level here. That's the 100-day moving average. It's amazing how that works, guys. And again, this is not your typical TA channel with MACD and RSI garbage. This is a unique system. It does very well for me. So like, share, subscribe if you get value out of this stuff. But those are your levels. So I want to bring that to you. And you can see again, all three lines on the standard deviation methodologies are down here in the extremes. We have nothing penetrating up through these zones yet, so we're not ready yet. So I mean, I think this is our downturn here. And again, on the upside, once we hit that bottom, I think we're probably likely to retrace back higher. They're going to chase that leverage back to that 127 to 130 mark. Again, you can see up here on this chart, here's your 130 to 140. Look at all that leverage. So I mean, they're going to go get it. So pay attention, all the way up to 150 potentially. So that's the level. Now, granted, we didn't mark 150 yet. Once we get to the 129 level, we'll probably reevaluate a lot of this and reestablish our zones. But that is Bitcoin. XRP. I'm actually shocked here. I know we had the Canary ETF come out, which did really well day one. We're hanging in there around 226, which is right around that first level we identified the other, it's been weeks now. I'm still a little nervous here. Again, we've got another lower zone identified. I hope it doesn't come to that to XRP. That would be a mass liquidation if it did, around 150, which also just so happens to be about a 100-day moving average on the weekly there. Then, sorry guys, 1 second. All right. So again, on the XRP, we've got upper zones identified as well, around 315 to 325 or 330, as well as a lower zone. So we got to really pay attention here because we're trading in one of these liquidation zones. Let me look at XRP real fast. Let's just see what we're looking like here. See, can it go down to 186? This is the absolute bottom over here, even though I guess this is the 3-month view. Let's scale this down to I think the 1 month. It changes as you scale down. We may even go 2 weeks on this one and see. Okay, so there goes. Let's go 2 weeks on XRP. Okay, here's a little better. So 2-week view here, you can see, I mean, it's very, very light leverage down here around $1.77. That's $712,000 right there. And we go right here about 172. That's where it hits zero. So 172 is at zero. So if they really wanted to wipe everything out, at least 172, but you can see there's a lot of leverage up here on this high side. They're going to go get it at some point. So it's just a matter of how greedy do you want to be? Do you want to fight over that drop? Hopefully you want to get a cheaper price. That's up to you. I don't tell you what to buy or when to buy. But long term, they're going to go get it. So just be aware of that. Let's look at something real quick. I want to see. Let's get off of that. Right now, there's our extreme fear indicator. We're at 11, guys. That is very, 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 very low. And I think what you're seeing is a lot of retail people capitulate, get fear factored out, which is really unfortunate, especially when we got 10 plus ETFs coming for XRP. It's going to bring billions of dollars into this market. Should have a positive impact. Again, this isn't uncommon to see XRP drop with ETFs, right? Bitcoin did the same exact thing. It actually fell for 1 to 2 weeks after the ETF was launched. So just be aware. Like I said, I hope it doesn't hit that lower zone. I think that would really create a lot of issues for a lot of people, but unfortunately that's opportunity. I think we're even in opportunity zone here. So you just got to make your mind up and do your thing. But that's where we are in XRP. Again, this looks a little better than Bitcoin, but again, that white line, all three lines are still well below the green opportunity zone here in these standard deviation zones. So it's got some work to do. So we'll see how much weakness we get here, but again, just not quite ready. So that is XRP. We will do arrow again. And what I'm going to do here, guys, I know this is crypto rapid fire, so we're going to do a couple of these I've highlighted, and then we'll go back and run through them real fast, minus all the ones that that aren't highlighted. So stay tuned. Stay to the end if you can. Arrow, again, whew, you can see we had a level 1 diamond up here. It peeked through our green cloud. It's retraced now. I think we went over this the other day. Again, this white line needs to be up in those extremes. Showing weakness here. Crossover on the weekly. So really nothing I would be, I feel like we could probably get a little bit better here. Opportunity down here. Hopefully we get some diamonds like we did back here on this level 3, which is back on October 11th. So we'll see what arrow does. So don't want to spend too much time there. I think Cosmos here was another request, I believe. So if you're out there, this is for you. I want to show you something here. This is getting interesting. We bounced off the liquid, or pretty close to it, the liquidation zone that we identified. We had level 1s. Again, it's bounced up through the cloud. It's retraced. Now we're kind of in no man's land, but look at this one. This one's getting a little better here. We've got some upward movement on the standard deviation lines. The white line is now penetrated up through the green. It's approaching the red, if you can see that. We needed to go up through the red zone. That could be an area or I guess, increasing momentum, or it could easily turn over. And again, double dip on this liquidation zone down here. You can see all 3 hot sensors are still below the midline. This white line, or the white color here, should transition to the above the midline here. That's what we want. And then we might see some upward movement here on Cosmos. And the reason I feel a little more confident about this one, at least in the short term, is we had we have this cluster of level 2s here on the weekly. 2 of the hot sensors are red. That's typically a nice little area here. I would love for that to be a level 3, but we didn't quite make it there. So we'll see what it does here. Again, we're trading at an area that's typically a volatility zone here back in the cloud, so be very careful. It could go either way. So I wouldn't quite be ready to pull the trigger for my own portfolio. I would want a little bit more confirmation. You can see this yellow label here. That is a that is a confirmation of trend change. So obviously from a downtrend in the red cloud, it has, if we zoomed in, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It's probably just now forming, but it is transitioning to a green cloud. So this could be a first early sign of potential upward movement. So that is Cosmos. Let's move on to Chainlink. Look at this one. Chainlink's have been beat up too. So obviously Chainlink's gone from roughly $27. We're now sitting at 14 in a leveraged liquidation zone, ladies and gentlemen. So for me, I'm looking at anything between $10 or $11 and 15 as opportunity. That's what I'm looking at. And then obviously on the upside, we've got 23 to 27 basically. So that's a pretty nice opportunity there. Again, we're not really in any extreme zone here, even though we're in a leverage zone. Again, white line is just kind of hovering down here well below the green opportunity zone, so it's probably not quite ready. So, I mean, we could get a little bit better opportunities here in this zone, but that's up to you. Again, level 3, or is that a level 2? Let me see. That is a level 3 diamond on the weekly in the leverage zone. Now, granted, even though, and just because we had level 3, that doesn't mean that's the bottom. You can have a cluster here, right? So in this zone, that's a really good sign, but the hot sensors are getting weaker, not stronger. So, that leads me to believe until this white line gets up into these extremes, we could continue to see some weakness here with Chainlink, which, we are holders of Chainlink. That's another one we don't really ever sell because of long-term potential. So do what you will with that. Solana, man alive, look, it's so beautiful. I hope you get some value from this, ladies and gentlemen. you can literally see we hit it here. We actually exited Solana at 240. Penetrated down through our first opportunity zone, literally inside of the second opportunity zone. So because of that, we will look at the leverage liquidation here for Solana. Take a peek. Now we'll probably increase the view here from 2 weeks back to 3. Let's go back up here. Let's change this a little bit. I just like 3 months because it's a long-term outlook, so you can really kind of see where it's at. And I mean, look at this. This is so crazy. Clearly, there's not a whole lot of leverage down here below this where we are now, right? But there's a lot of leverage up here, but above $200. So what do you really want to fight over? Do you really want to fight over, you could maybe get down to 125, right? We're at 140. So what is that? Another 10%. So just in that, I mean, like I said, I have identified 125 as the bottom here. Now, granted, we're in the lower extremes. We're getting weaker on the hot sensors, crossing over on the weekly hot sensors. We do have a level 3. So to me, this just becomes, now I would have to liquidate something to go back into Solana, which may be very well worth it here. But really anywhere from 125 to where we are now should be fantastic opportunity in my eyes. Not financial advice to you to buy, but that's just what I'm thinking about here. Do you really want to fight over 10% when you can get a huge, upside potential here? And that's where you got to make your own decisions, because we are not financial advisors. I like Solana. World Liberty. Again, we've told you here on World Liberty, we've identified these zones. We've been saying 10 to 20 is probably where we're going to be floating here on World Liberty. Like I said, nothing special in the charts here. Again, kind of no man's land. We had the pump. Now we got the retracement back to the cloud. We've got a confirmed uptrend signal here. So yeah, you could go from 14 to 20, which is a nice return. But I think those are your leverage zones. Like I said, we do not hold World Liberty at the moment. So that's just our opinion on that one. XDC. So XDC, part of our 3-quarter blockchain. Long-term, love this. We are holders of XDC. We don't sell XDC. I feel like there's some good opportunity potential here. We've identified the zone. Now, granted, this thing's so cheap, it's 5 cents, right? So this zone is, from a price gap perspective, it's small. From a percentage gap perspective, that can be big, right? So just pay attention there. About 4.5 cents there to basically 5 cents. We're literally right at it right now. Been hovering around it. We got the upside identified between 8 and 10, or basically 8 and 10. So that's almost a double. So that's your zones there on XDC for those that, I don't think we've covered the zones on XDC yet. So I told you I'd do it. So there it is. Standard deviation methodologies on XDC. Looks like it's trying to approach the green zone. So there's still some work to do. Could this be ready? I mean, sure. Could it go lower than 5 cents? I mean, yeah. I mean, but that zone is pretty much there, guys. Again, we're starting to get clusters of level 1s on the weekly, which is a good sign. We do have some crossover here. Some weakening hot sensors on the weekly, so we'll see where it goes. We are below the cloud, so some work to do for XDC. But again, long term, as things begin to tokenize different markets, this could be a winner. Again, we'll tell you 6 digits on XDC for us. The XLM, so really starting to like XLM here. Again, this looks similar to a lot of the other ones right now with this downturn. And look at this, so pretty, guys. Man, I mean, tell me another system. And actually, this is a good plug here. So if you get value out of this system, I really do appreciate, tell me in the comments what you think about the system and the signals and interpretations, because again, I know YouTube's changing algorithms and doing certain things, and there's a sentiment gauge. So tell us how you feel, whether it's good or bad. I welcome all feedback. But I do appreciate any comments you get and any value you get from me identifying these tops and bottoms and these opportunity zones. So let us know how you feel in the comments. We appreciate it. And I will engage back for the most part if I can. Again, here, XLM, big one for the years to come, especially when it comes to retail transactions, I believe, if you listen to some of these other YouTube folks and do your research. But again, we've got the zone identified. We're in it right now, 23 to 27 cents. Upper zone, 40 to 44 cents. You can see that down red cloud. We're hovering. We're still trending below that cloud. Still down here in those standard deviation lower zones. So still some work to do. But to me, anywhere between this 23 and 26 zone where we are now, probably fantastic. You can see the level 3 diamonds. We absolutely crushed it. Look at this. This is crushed. Red in the hot sensors. Level 3 diamonds. Extremes with our blue and dark brown X's. Every single indicator is maxed out, and you can see what it did after that. So that's just where we are. Again, fantastic opportunity zone here. That's all I'm going to say. You're also getting the same zone over here on the weekly, approaching the 100-day moving average, which just so happens to be at the bottom of that zone. It's amazing how that works. Level 2s at the same time. So, you just got to decide how long you want to wait and how greedy do you want to be. All right, that's the run through there for those special requests. We will now do a quick rapid fire session for the other ones. I may not stop on every single one. So going forward, please put any tokens, stocks, cryptos you want in the comments. We will try to get to them the best I can. If I keep skipping yours, I'm apologizing now. Just keep pestering the comments with your whatever crypto or stock you want. Eventually I will get to it, I promise. But here we go. HBAR. And I'll hesitate here for a minute. And if obviously you'll be able to see the zones here, but if I don't really think I need to say anything, because I'm not going to repeat the same kind of analysis every single time, then I'll just keep going. But you should be able to see if there's any diamonds or in what these zones are and how close we are to the zones. So I'll stop for a brief second so you can at least see those things where they exist. Otherwise, I'll stop if I think I need to say anything. So that's HBAR. We're not going to stop. 1 inch. Is that worth talking about? We'll skip that for now. Aave. So we don't have any zones on Aave, so let's go do that real quick. We can do that here on this recorded session just to show you where that zone might be. Now, we didn't have any diamonds or anything special on the system, but this will help. And see, we're getting close on Aave here. Bottom, absolute bottom here, probably around, let's just call it 150. Let's just call it, well, actually, let's see, there is some light leverage down here. Where is it? Here we go. Let's just say 150 to 155. Oh my God, look at this. This, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad I stopped here. This might be one I need to trade. What's this? Hang on a second. We'll come back here. Hang on. We got something here. And this is why we do this for you. Not because I have to, simply because I want to. I know how the game works. I'm just trying to help out and educate. So Aave, we're going to put some zones on here. Going to go down here to 150. We'll leave it at 160. That's fair enough. Let's see. Is that right? 160? I mean, that's pretty. Yeah, okay. So we'll leave it there. But look at this. How greedy do you want to be? You can see there's not much left to take out here. Now, granted, I don't know of any Aave ETFs coming, so that's a big. I mean, that's not going to really be a catalyst there, like you might have for XRP and Solana and all these other ones. But look at this, guys. We're trading. What are we trading at right now? We're trading at 179. You got a bottom zone. You got some level ones throughout here, but nothing really special. We're in the gray zone. We're in the yellow. Of crossing over. It's declining. So I think this zone could very well be hit in the very short term. I would expect to see some diamonds. You can see we're down in those lower extremes, so this weakness makes sense, right? But look at this, guys. This is where I get excited. I really do. I really hope you can take something away from this. Look at this. Look at this damn leverage. I mean, that's $400, people. 400. We're in the ones. Now your high area of leverage is 329. So I don't even know where to. I mean, I really hate to go. I mean, that's a huge zone. So I mean, I have to go at least 329. But I mean, I'm gonna do it. I don't really do this normally, but it's kind of ugly. But I'm going 329 to 400, and that's a. I know that's too big, but I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, I can't help that. Usually, you don't see a big one like that. Now I'm gonna move this over because it's probably gonna come secondary to the bottom zone, of course. So we're gonna scoot that just a little bit like that. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, on live on recorded session. If that doesn't seem exciting, I don't know what to tell you. I guess the only thing I could tell you here is I would really want to see at least a level 2 or level 3 and be in this zone. That would be fantastic. I do want to show you this on the weekly. Ave, level 3. Now, granted, things are getting weaker. You can see the standard deviation on the weekly. They're all trending down toward those low extremes. So if that if that orange and blue line get to those extremes, that's probably your firing point for me. I don't know about you, but like I said, I don't really know what you're trying to accomplish or your objectives. I'm not an advisor again. But the level 3s are starting to fire. We can get a cluster here. It just so happens to be that zone on the weeklies are approaching that 200-day moving average. This screams hello. So pay attention to Ave. I'm going to keep that on the list because that's yeah, that's a good one. So here we go. Cardano. All I can tell you about Cardano is again, 6 figures for us on Cardano. We're in the opportunity zone, level 3 over here on the weekly, right there. On the daily, we're not quite getting a level 2 or 3, but we are in the bottom of the liquidation zone. So again, Cardano I like. We've already identified 90, what is that, 90 to 95 cents on the upside. That's Cardano. Arrow, we already talked about. Those two we skip. API 3, you know what? Hang on a second. I usually skip over API 3. We used to like API 3. They had a relationship with open banking, but this thing really hadn't done a whole lot over the years. So, man, look at that one. What's that? $1.60. What's that? $1.60 to the upside, which I think we already had that identified. So yeah, $1.60 there. Downside, we're basically there. I mean, there's not really anything down here. So we'll just say 50 cents here. I mean, that's pretty much where we are. So we'll put that here, right around here, 50 cents. There you go. So, 50 cents to $1.60. That's a 3x, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you can literally see previous tops. We've nailed it with level 3 diamonds. I don't know how much better I can get with you. Look, level 3 diamonds, red, red, red. Level 3 diamonds, red here. Wasn't red there, but we were red down here. So, for that person who told me this system doesn't work, I don't really know what you mean, but would love your feedback again. Not a bad opportunity. That's all I can say. Won't tell you to buy it, but there it is. API 3. Don't know about that one. Go research it. It does have some interesting people behind it. I will say that. Some very smart people. Algorand. We don't have zones on Algorand. We'll just look at Algorand. I'm not going to put the zones on here, but I may. We'll see. We got to be near the bottom. A little bit. 14 cents would be your bottom here. But again, 26 plus on the upside. So that's Algorand. I'm not going to do, I'll come back and do that later, but pretty much maybe another 10% on Algorand to the downside potentially. Aptos, again, weekly clusters of level 3s, 1s, and 2s in the red on the medium term hot sensor, weakening daily view. We're in the zone, upper zone identified at 527 to 570. We're at 293. There you go. Arbitrum. Let's skip. Cosmos we talked about. Avalanche. Woo! Avalanche. I like Avalanche long term. That's all I can tell you. Zones identified. Level 3s on the weekly. We're in the orange. We're getting very close. On the daily, we're in the yellow. In the zone. Upper zone's identified at $31. We're at 15. It's 100%, folks. Not telling you to buy it. Just showing you opportunities. Binance. We will skip. Bonk. Tell you what, for the meme coin lovers out there, since we're getting level 3s all up on the weekly view here in the orange, it's a Solana meme coin. Solana should do well. Bonk should do well. So because of that, we will show you the leverage here. We used to be holders of Bonk, but we did sell out a while back. But look at this. And see, the damn price is so far beyond the decimals that, I mean, what is that? That's probably a, we'll see, where are we at right now? Man, look at this leverage up here. So you got two zones here. This, I'll just say 0.00 whatever. So 0.18, let's just say 0.19. And then, damn, 27. So 19 and 27, and we're basically at the bottom down here. I mean, they could take it a little bit lower, but so 19 and 27. We're going to go ahead and do that here. So that would be 19. So basically right here. And then 27. Right there. There's your two zones, ladies and gentlemen. You know, take your pick. No level 2s or 3s yet on the daily, but we are getting them on the weekly. Things are declining, so watch it. If you start seeing improvement, the white line again in the lower extreme. So not ready, but that's bonk if you like those meme coins. Centrifuge, we will skip. Dogecoin, obviously you know the trade we made a couple days back, 160,000 Doge. We purchased at roughly 18 cents. You can go back and look at that video. We talked exactly about that zone that's identified on that daily view there. We were literally hitting off the bottom of it twice now at 15 cents. Doesn't still appear ready, so we'll see how low it can go. But we are going to be long-term holders of Doge through these ETFs. So that's Doge. Polkadot. Skip. Ethereum. Skip that. You can see the zones. Filecoin, you can see the zones. We nailed the top there. Goldfinch. That one's getting interesting, but I'm going to skip it for now. The graph, we'll skip. It looks like it's approaching that zone. Helium. Skip. Hyperliquid. Skip. Jupiter, another Solana token. We will. Getting pretty interesting there. We'll skip it though. Chainlink. I think we already talked about Chainlink. Maker. Skip Maker. Near. Again, you can see on the daily view. I mean, look at that. I mean, literally. I mean, good gracious, guys. It literally bounced from leverage liquidation zone to leverage liquidation zone in a matter of 3 or 4 days. We identified the zones, we hit the zones. Now we would trace back to the cloud like we usually tell you it does. Pumped up through the cloud, through those resistance zones to the leverage liquidation zone, back to the cloud. Now you're no man's land. It looks like this thing could go higher, but I wouldn't be willing to pull my trigger here because I don't really like trading around the cloud. I'm looking for the diamonds. So, and things aren't really in any over extreme position here. So again, it just depends on what happens with these standard deviation lines for near. So we'll keep going. Ondo, Ondo, I love you. All right, so the key thing with Ondo, you got to go look. There's huge unlocks coming in January. You know, unlocks don't mean, even though it means token dilution, it doesn't necessarily mean token price drop, okay? I've seen the opposite happen. You can literally see here, we're pegging the zone right here. We've got the other zone identified on the upside of the $2. That's almost 100% return, or at least opportunity there. Things are getting weaker. We got level 3s on the weekly, right around this zone. Don't have anything yet on the daily. Again, not really ready based on standard deviation. So this thing could hover for a minute. We'll see how low it goes. But, this could be, they could be pricing in the unlocks. If that happens, when that unlock happens, people think it's going to drop. It's probably going to go up. So pay attention come January. Again, we may have a little bit of Ondo right now. I don't think it's anything really massive or anything. So that's Ondo. Optimism, skip it. Plume, I think we talked about that one the other day. Pith. No lower zone identified here. I don't really want to spend time going to do that, but you can see we've got the upper identified at roughly 20 cents. That's another 100% opportunity. Quant, skip, render. Level 3s on the weekly on render. That's all I'm going to say. Radium, is that radium? Yeah. Skip. We did that. SWE. Now this thing, since it's penetrated down below our lower leverage zone here, I do want to get an updated zone for you. See how low we can go here, because SWE's a big one that a lot of people pay attention to. Let's just take a peek here. Oh my goodness gracious. Good gracious, people. That's all I can say. Good gosh. All right. Absolute, $1.50. We're going to go ahead and mark these. Oh, well, we probably already did. Oh, okay, so sweet. So let's pump this down a little bit. We're going to pump this down to $1.50. Where's $1.50? Right about there. All right, there it is. Watch it hit. Upside. They're going to go get this. This is high leverage for this token. That is 373 to basically 404, and then more above that. So 373 to 404. Is that what we got? Yeah, that's basically what we got. We will increase this though to 404. There it is. So there's your zone on SWE. That's pretty nice. That's over a double. So orange on the hot sensors. So getting there, would expect to see some diamonds soon. Hopefully we get a diamond up in this zone. That'd be beautiful. White line, everything's hovering around the lower extreme, so that weakness makes sense. Just waiting for the white line to pump. Got the level 3s, so probably likely an area where we're getting there, folks. I know it's tough to watch. I know it's tough to watch your accounts go down, but this is what that fear factor does. Do you honestly believe that institutions aren't buying when we're in an extreme fear? Retail gets fear. Institutions don't have fear. They have unlimited, unpotential, tapped funding. So understand the game. Okay? I can't stress it enough. Trump token, we'll leave that one alone. Tron, we'll leave that one alone. VeChain, that's one I know a lot of people like, especially in the Korean markets. Yeah, we'll leave that alone. World Liberty, we already talked about. And the rest are stocks down here. That's it, folks. Jason, TCP Super System, Saturday Crypto Rapid Fire. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, please tell us in the comments if you got any value from this, what you think about the system, alerts, interpretations. Again, none of it's financial advice. Be careful investing, it's risky. We love y'all. We hope you have a very blessed Saturday. Hope your team wins if you're a football fan. Otherwise, we will see you later today in a separate video or tomorrow. Love y'all. Take care.